All right, folks, in this tutorial, we're going to be covering how to clean up audio that was recorded possibly a little too close to the microphone. When audio is recorded that way, it often is harsh and loud and distorted and can have popping in voices. So we're going to take a look at how to filter out certain frequencies to clean up the audio and how to add a hard limiter in Premiere to just smoothen out the audio and make it a little quieter and a more healthy of a level. I'm going to hit I for in and O for out on my clip. And I know this clip is a little bit loud. You can tell from the waveform here, it's quite hot. So I'm bringing down my overall volume on my computer. Make sure we're on loop, and let's take a listen to this clip.
So this is what it sounds like when I'm way too close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping and distortion and some other.
Okay, so you can hear I am like right on top of that microphone. So in this case, what we're trying to do is we're trying to limit the highs and we're trying to bring down some of the popping noises and bring in a little bit of clarity where the distorted high points are happening. Something to keep in mind is once you have an audio clip like this and you're hearing distortion and popping, you really can't get rid of those things easily inside of Premiere. That is a really high level and very time consuming process. And sometimes even then, it still is pretty difficult to take out some of these pops and distorted sounds. However, there are things to sort of find a nice sweet middle ground to improve this audio without spending too much time doing so. All right, so to fix this, what we're trying to do is we're trying to squash the sound a little bit and try and find some of the frequencies where we're hearing these hard pops up against the microphone. Once again, this is a case where we can improve it, but can't completely get rid of the issue, but we can really make this sound a lot cleaner than it currently is. So we're going to start with the FFT filter. We're just going to drag and drop that right on top here. And what's great about this filter is we're able to really surgically go in and add a bunch of different plot points here to bring up or down certain frequencies. So now with this in place, once again, just bring down your audio a little bit since it is so loud. We're going to listen to it again. And what I want you to do is take a look down here at these frequency bands and just try and take a look and see if you can find when I'm saying pop and you're hearing that popping noise, where a spike ends up. And I'm guessing it's going to be around here. But let's just take a listen and look closely.
This is what it sounds like when I'm way too close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping and distortion.
Oh, okay. So when I said popping, you could see a very obvious spike right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just add a couple of plot points here. And we're going to go extreme. We're going to bring this all the way down. Now let's give this a listen real quick.
Close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping and distortion.
Okay, let's bring it down a little bit lower. I think I was hearing it a little bit lower.
Close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping.
Cool. So we're starting to get rid of a little bit of it, but I believe there's another set of frequency here that I'm also hearing it come through. Let's give that another listen.
Way too close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping.
Cool. So we're starting to get a little bit of warmth and starting to sound a little muddy, so I'm going to back off. Listen one more time.
To the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping.
I'm also going to just give a shot at trying to get rid of some of the frequencies way up here. One more time.
Way too close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping.
Awesome. Okay, so now you're starting to hear a little bit of squashing of those frequencies where we're getting that popping noise. I'm going to back these off ever so slightly, each one of them, just to get a little bit more natural of a sound. And we can also bring in these frequencies to be a little bit closer in. This way they're affecting less of the frequencies around them. Awesome. One more listen.
Close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping and distortion.
Awesome. Okay, so that's a very good start. We've started to sort of sculpt out some of those unwanted noises, but we can go a step further, and we're going to just add in a hard limiter. So you can type in hard, and here we have our hard limiter. Drag and drop on. Pops up here in our effects window. Awesome. And so all this is doing is squashing the top frequencies to make sure that it's sounding a little bit more compressed and that the audio isn't ever clipping and ever going beyond a certain dB. So I think right off the bat, we're going to just begin to squash this down a little bit. Let's start down at negative 22 dB. Let's give this a listen real quick.
This is what it sounds like when I'm way too close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping.
Awesome. So you can already hear the whole thing being a little bit more condensed, a little bit more under control and smooth, and it's definitely doing something a little bit more different than just bringing down the volume of this track, which would still have all of the issues of all of the mess of the sound that we don't want. And what this is doing, it's bringing down the volume while also cleaning out the sound a little bit more. So I'm going to adjust the input boost and bring that down a little bit, since this is such a hot level. And let's see what that does.
When I'm way too close to the microphone, and you can hear that there's possibly a little bit of popping and distortion and some other not so nice sounds. So let's try and fix that. So this is what it sounds like when I'm way too close to the microphone, and you can...
Awesome. I feel good about the levels being around there. Basically what we're looking for is a level between loudness and sort of compression of the high ends of our sounds, just to make sure that the levels aren't going beyond a certain point, but also making sure that we can hear everything clearly and the levels have been brought up loud.